Title: Big Brother's Tug-o-War, U.S. Government's Cyber Peeping Tom Tactics Go for a Renewal. TLDR. In the global game of spy versus spy, the White House is campaigning for the comeback of a controversial electronic surveillance provision, Section 702. This Big Brother-style snooping act has been used to keep tabs on foreign individuals outside the U.S., but hold up. It's not just international affairs. Some reckon this law has been twisted into a domestic spying tool, infringing upon the privacy rights of the American people. So, the question of the day, is this a necessary sacrifice for national security, or an Orwellian nightmare coming to life? Full story. Ever feel like you're being watched? Well, you might not be that paranoid after all. The White House is pushing hard for lawmakers to renew the infamous Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, before it fizzles out by the end of the year. This sneaky section allows Uncle Sam to conduct some top-secret, hush-hush surveillance of foreign folks outside the US. But it's not all cloak and dagger with no repercussions. Privacy advocates and a handful of lawmakers have been pushing back, harder than a sumo wrestler in a tofu factory. They've got some concerns about the misuse of the law, especially when it comes to spying on US citizens. Wait, what? Yes, you heard it right. Critics argue that this provision, supposedly targeted at foreigners, has become a fertile ground for warrantless government access to Americans' calls, texts, and emails. Talk about awkward. Remember those fentanyl smugglers and ransomware hackers who had a hand in the Colonial Pipeline Company's shutdown back in 2021? The White House just revealed that Section 702 helped catch these culprits. But this public campaign to gain support for the provision seems to be running against a tide of public opinion growing more skeptical of the security versus civil liberties trade-off. A recent poll by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research shows that only 28% of adults think the government should have ears on calls and eyes on emails without a warrant. Meanwhile, a solid 44% give this idea a big thumbs down. And when it comes to sacrificing personal freedoms for preventing terrorism, less than half of Americans are on board, compared to nearly two-thirds in 2011, shortly after the 9/11 attacks. And the White House isn't just facing resistance from the public. Even within the Senate, there's some serious side-eye towards this provision. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says that despite the FBI's mistakes, Section 702 should be reauthorized, but with some safeguards thrown in. Illinois Democratic U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, on the other hand, says he needs to see some serious reforms from the FBI before supporting the provision's renewal. So, what now? The Biden administration has said it opposes any proposals requiring the FBI to get a warrant every time it looks for an American's info. According to them, limiting the FBI's access to lawfully collected info would be like stepping into a time machine set for the pre-9/11 era. Now, there's no denying that surveillance can help prevent some serious threats. The FBI's got stories of stopping Beijing's efforts to track and repatriate Chinese dissidents and warning an American who was the target of foreign spies. But with the Bureau also admitting to